Hello, I'm back again. So, right now we're approaching to the anime. And once again, in the previous speculation that I've done, the last video about, May possible transformation, but, once again, we're still in the Howard season, including the coming June, that is coming very quickly. And so, since I've been pretty much unwell these days, that I wasn't able to put on my maximum output for the chart. Well, I've been doing it the entire year, but, well, I just wanted to say that, that since I didn't have the time, and also because of the physical limit that I have, I'm supposed to finish the chart. I'm supposed to have also add on to the operations and markers and the relationships, but I haven't finished all of that yet. Although I plan to do it in coming few days ahead. So right now I'm not updating the chart on my side at this moment because there aren't a lot of changes right now. But I just do suggest that you would come back a little while later and revisit the updated chart that will be posted on the site, and the link will be in the channel. So, anyways, the chart, though I haven't spent as much time as I wanted to spend on the chart and God's clock analysis that I've been doing, but it already contains a rigorous output of myriad years and months according to this novel clockwork method. And so once again, please note that even if the speculated date does not come to pass, it does not affect the validity of the God's clock and chart in any way, because the already established relationship and markers and operations can always reconnect. And so, well, for today with this video, just been once again posting out on date speculation, but again, there is a difference between date speculation and date setting, where date setting, you're just well, you just say that that it must be it, and but then date speculation is kind of the opposite way, like knowing that is a possibility, but then not sure exactly about it. So there's a difference. So right now it's just a date speculation. So it's kind of like a possibility of about the coming transformation of the bride. And once again, there's gonna be a barley harvest to the bride, and says the wheat harvest to the bride. So right now we're focusing on the barley harvest to the bride, and for the speculation of June the 17th and 18th is actually for the two different time zones. So, for instance, when if the 17 would be California, then 18 would be New Zealand. Let's explain about the God's clock, original inspiration that I got in the past, before jumping into the explanation. So the explanation of mid-June. So with this clockwork method and charting of it, it's based on the scripture of Genesis chapter 9 verse 23. So I believe that I mentioned of that in the past, but I just wanted to recall that again. So the working on the threefold calendars charting system that's based on the Jewish Enoch and Elijah's calendar, where they're the keys to the charting of the calendars to gain a fuller picture when we use all three of them simultaneously. And recalling Genesis chapter 9 verse 23, it says, "And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both the shoulders, and went backward, and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness." So here, literally just, symbolize the forgiveness of sin, because nakedness means that our shame and guilt and sin that before God. But then right now this verse talks about the covering of that. So there's also a lot of meaning behind that, because as he was laid upon the shoulders, Christ also had his cross laid on the back of his shoulders during the crucifixion. And also it's linked up with humility and also being honored at the same time. I must stay walking backward before the Father. And so right now we could see backward, the word backward and the word covered. And the word covered, that's also the same as forward. And so that's a backward and forward. So that's how it is based on with the God's clock. Well, just let me refresh it again. I know that I've explained that in time past. It's always good to remind and to explain about the clockwork. And for now, explaining it in a nutshell. So God's clock, well, it goes backward and forward, and forward and backward, also backward, and also forward and forward as well. And we see it in years and months mirroring for the present time that we're in. And it sees a single layer into multiple perspectives. So the markers have passed and gone, and we do see the markers in the future. And so should we target a single marker? So as we know that September the 23rd, 2017 will be a future marker, yes. And even September 11, 2001 was a historic marker as well. And all these markers hold much significance. But I mean, what if we combine all these markers into connected network? Well, a relationship of markers in a hierarchy of operations where they sing together in harmony. And their markers, they are submarkers. Call stations also called perpetual set reference, which is September 11, 2001 to September 17. That event is the center stage, the main highlight of all other markers. And so there are also substations to connect to the central pod. So imagine you are in a train. Network where the core station is the city terminal and the substations are the towns. So this also works for the biblical festivals of God, since each festival has its own significance. And just focusing on a single festival would mean the rest of other festivals are possibly ignored. And the festivals of God can be linked up together, such as Hanukkah, Passover, Second Passover, Pentecost, Second Pentecost, Yom Kippur, Feast of Trumpets, and Sukkot, etc. So when they're linked up together, the meaning behind a speculated date could be expanded. So also the Sabbatical code has been reviewed through this year, 2017. And how magnificent that is of this Passover year. So this Sabbatical code can be found in this year 2017. And on top of September 23rd, 2017, and the Revelation 12 sign, there's so much more that we can see. The transformation of the bride of Christ has a lot to do with the meaning of the Sabbath. So as you may know, the Sabbath is a day that is blessed, set apart, uncommon, a day of rest, and a day of completion. The Sabbath is found in the fourth commandment, in the observance of the seventh day to rest after 6 days of labor. And this is the Sabbatical code as revealed in in the scriptures. And the number 6 represents the fallen state, and number 7 represents the perfected state, and this is a transition code from 6 to 7. The fourth commandment, the 7th day and 6 days are all clues to the Sabbatical year 2017. The code comes out as 7777, which 2017 can be seen as this code. And better yet, when we combine it into transition code of 7776 to 7777 based on this Hebrew year we are in of the 5777 Hebrew year. And this Hebrew year overlaps in both years of 2016 to 2017, which is perfectly sabbatical. But what I mean is, according to God's clock method, we can break it down into this way of seeing 2017 as this full 7 sabbatical code. I'm hearing forward a quadrant, which is 2020 on the clock, is in the same family of 2017. And so 20 would be seen as 17 at the same time. And so it comes out 17 and 17, and 1 is a 7, because T3 is the beginning of months. So as we're approaching to the coming June, the set of numbers that we could consider, and so the set of numbers include triple six, the 4 7s, 120, 1828, 911, 67, 153, 68, and the number 12. So right now we are in the IDs of March, and I think that's very important. And of course, it's also the time Pentecost. And based on this new clockwork method, it is made possible that the time of Pentecost can also be seen in more than one literal place. And what I mean by that is that the coming Pentecost will be on the 31st of May to the 1st of June. But here it means that Savant 67 doesn't have to be locked into that date at the same time. It could also be referenced to other dates in this mirroring method through the God's clock. So with June 1718 can definitely link up with time Pentecost also, and methods of equalizing and mirroring are the core elements of God's clock. So first of all, 666. This code, this month of June comes out the code of the mark of the beast. So you can see the God's clock over here. Well, what I mean is that it's pointing to the east, where it's the code of the 666 during the month of June. So it's a code of the mark of the beast by God's clock because of 3 of 6, Savant and June together at the same time. And the code for the 7 this year, 2017, is a hidden sabbatical code revealed as explained from above. Explained from what I previously said. So in this year, 2017, it hits all 4 members of the family, which is February, May, August, and November's direction via the God's clock. Even if we are not in these 4 major months, while we are still in 2017, it hits all of these 4 buttons together towards Norway as well. And Norway symbolizes Matthew 16, so the 3 days of darkness, which also is referenced in Revelation 6 of the 6th seal, which is to be fulfilled very soon. And because it is the home of the Northern Lights, and also 2017 hits at the Passover Red Sea direction, and heats from 240 to 150 degrees from Chizvan to F, which is the route of the Israelites towards the Red Sea. So that's very significant at the time of the Passover, which is pointing to the sea that we're right now. And the number 120, God's clock, also points to 120 degrees in 2016, the year 2016. And we are in Hebrew year 5777, that spans from 2016 to 2017. And you could also reference back to Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, mention about the number 120. Also with the number 1828, this number refers to Psalm 1828, All Earth's number, transformation of the bride or exaltation of the bride, crucifixion and Hanukkah, well in a nutshell. With the month of June, by God's clock, it creates 18, and by the month of July, it creates the number 28. June and July is once again code 67 in which the number 18 comes from 3 times 6 of Savannah and June, while number 28 comes from 4 times 7 of Thomas and July. And while fulfilling the number 18 in the month of June, number 28 can be fulfilled for year 2016's time frame towards July's direction, as we are still in the Hebrew year 5777. And on to 9/11, code 9/11. We all know that 9/11 is super significant, and many have been saying that September 11 was the Gregorian date when Christ was born. So whether it is or not, it actually sounds pretty feasible to me. So by the month of June, the number 9 can be fulfilled by 3 plus 6, pointing to June, while the number 11 can be fulfilled by 4 plus 7 in July's direction. This is inspired by the code 67 again. And once again, that's a transition code. So right now we're in July's direction no matter which month it goes, unless it is the end of 5777. And it seems very possible that within the year of 5777 everything shall be fulfilled, including the transformation of the bride. And 5777 can also be seen as for the 7, because the family of 2016 includes 2013. Mirroring backwards according to the clockwork method. In 2013, the time of F was meeting with July due to misalignment of calendars, leading to 5 equals to 7. And 153. That's also the number that was mentioned in the scripture about the great harvest of soul, but also it's the ideas of marriage, which is on the 15th of March, and it belongs to June as well. And this also comes from God's clock, pointing towards 15 o'clock and 3 o'clock simultaneously. The number 68, which is the God's clock, is superimposed the world map. So as you can see, that the world events occur in different geographic location, hence is the meaning behind the direction it points towards via the God's clock. So in mid-June will be the transformation, and August might perhaps well be the time of the rapture. And so according to the 3 days rule and 40 days harvest approximately, which we could see that pattern repeating over and over again throughout the scriptures, and one of that obvious example would be the 3 days of burial of Christ and the 40 days of harvest prior to the rapture. And the Hebrew year is divided into 6 months, and another 6 months by Nisan to Tishrei, and from Tishrei to Adar. So in the God's clock, we can see the 6 sections per hour. The first section will be the first month, and yet the 7th month. The second section will be this second month and the 8th month. The third section, as you see in the image, will be the 3rd month and 9th month. The fourth section will be the 4th month and 10th month. The fifth section would be the 5th month, 11th month, and finally the 6th section would be the 6th month and 12th month equalized. And so the Passover Red Sea is our gauge, since Jesus is our Passover lamb. It points to, as you can see the image, towards August direction is the 5th month. F is decoded 122 by the dual alphabetical system, has its great significance. 122, the beginning of the end. And the reason why, because is that what I could remember with the Hebrew alphabet, that's and on the number 22, I believe there is significance to as to how it's structured that way, and there's also the properties of pi. But anyway, the Red Sea is also, as you can see, and the map is like the pointer of the clock, centered in Israel. Israel is the gauge as always, because that's the apple of God's eye. That's the center. His holy land, the center of the world. And so that's why the God's clock is being superimposed at the center based on Israel. And it also points to the 2nd section, which is with the 2nd month and 8th month. Either it can be seen as February later than August and Shushan. It points to August, so this is supporting code 68. That can also be seen as 9/11. Because by the clockwork, the number 6 is as 9 and 8 is as 11. Also, the number 12, lastly, is the midnight hour. So the thing is, right now, we're approaching the Savam is also hitting at the midnight hour at the same time. And once again, remember the forward and backward method, and so during the time of June would also mean the darkest before dawn. The midnight hour is also a turning point. It also means the time is up. It also means the judgment comes. The midnight hour is mentioned in the 10 virgins parable and the death of the firstborn during the time of Passover, and that's recorded in the book of Exodus. Is it chapter 12 or something? It also means a new chapter, and also means the morning comes for the bride, and also new beginning. Well, Jesus died at 3 in the afternoon. It points to the east direction, and the east direction always being a repetitive pattern throughout the scriptures. And it's the direction where the light comes from, and it is towards June via the analysis of God's clock. And whereas his death symbolizes the death of the bride as well, because she also picks up her cross, has crucified of her flesh and death to this world. So mirroring backward from June to March is Savan to Adar. And the 12th month of Adar is the midnight hour, being equalized with the coming June time frame we will be in. So it'll be a super high winter season. So right now we're on to the two-step analytical procedure. So I've been actually listing the order of how to go through it, because Since the chart is just so extensive, we don't know where to start. First of all, we should also set the priorities of the calendars. And then we target speculated core basis dates, and connect with the and also to link up with any connected key markers confirmation, and last of all mathematical equations witness as well. So let me explain this in the simplest way possible to be more understandable. So I cannot explain everything here, and it is way too much in details. But I highly recommend you to feed a chart as linked below. And I also have mathematical equations such as pi, 3 pi, Euler's number at the back of the research. But I'm not gonna reference it here for now. But also, right now we're onto the chart finally. So according to the Sabbatical code, as I mentioned in the past about the 7776247 from 2016 and 2017 of Hebrew year, 5777 that we're in right now. 2016 and 2017 must run simultaneously. But what I mean by running simultaneously, we need to not just look at 2017 without looking at 2016. Well, the reason why, because it's like having your breakfast cereal without your spoon on the table. Because of the code 67, it must be together in order to be a transition code. And so as we see the core basis dates, including Sivan 11, and also Sivan 23 and Thomas 2, see whereas 2016 dances together with 2017 at the same time. And it must be so because that's a sabbatical code. It must be together, running together at the same time. So Sivan 11, by the mirroring method of God's clock, is equalized with September 11, whereas Sivan 23 is September 23, and Thomas 2 is as Elul 29 from October 2, 2016. As to how that is calculated, please do read the commentaries that I have entered into the charted calendars. You find a link on the side of given on the channel. September 11 and September 23 are huge markers. But not only the huge markers, there are of course a lot more markers from time past and in the future. And of course there are just numerous markers, and there's just part of the picture. September 11 was on Elul 23 also, and Elul 23 is September 23. And they're ironically framed in the same slot in time past also. And right now, since we are still in 2016 and 2017 time frame, it is connected to 2001 family with 2016 backward method. It goes through quadrant to quadrant, basically. And so I'm not sure what I mentioned in time past about Enoch's calendar being a father of time, and how just using a Jewish calendar will not be able to see the complete picture. We have to, without a choice, to also look at Enoch's calendar at the same time. June the 7th, So the June 7th is Savan 23 via Xenar calendar, well, almost perpetually in the same fixed place every single year. And therefore Savan 23 is June 7, which is equal to Pentecost of Savan 7. That's looping back into June 17. Whereas is also Ili 29, mirrored is September 17, 2001. So that's actually just a part of the network. There's just so much more. Once again, when I have updates, I'm gonna update it on the side. So there's gonna be new information. Hopefully, in the coming few days ahead. 2016, 2017 is the first step, and then the next step is to support this by the key markers in the same role that are equalized in June 17-18, and so of course we're based on the core basis of 2016 and 2017, but you can kind of like see them as parents, and the children of that would be lying to 2016, would be 2013 and 2019, and the children of children, or what you can say the mirrored years of 2017 would be backward and forward of 2020 and also 2014. So that's gonna be the next step is gonna be based on, and of course there are also many more of that's also within the same family, but because they're closest to the current year of the Hebrew year 5777, which is 2016 2017 together. Say, by 2016's family, well, we can say, well, one of that is the ideas in March 15 is Savan 15, equally can be seen in June 18, 2019, so the ideas in March is very important. If you see the Enos calendar, that's a very, very fascinating time, because it's the longest day of the year that spans in the like a few days. So that's the ideas of marriage operation, which I'm supposed to have done by now, but I'm gonna do that very soon, hopefully. But even though March has passed, but remember that Israel is the gauge as always. So it should possibly be Savan in just the third Hebrew month instead of March, the third Gregorian month. That's not the Jewish kind of way. So I'm about to finish that, but I know I haven't explained everything that should be explained, but hopefully you'll be able to have all that wrapped up in a nutshell, well, for this time right now. But definitely the coming June will be very hard season. Well, anyways, thank you for watching this video.